Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spokane City Council Legislative Session. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Pfister, would you please call the roll?
Council President Beggs.
Here.
Councilmember Bingle.
Here.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Present.
Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Present.
Councilmember Zappone.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
All right, we're going to start out with some poetry at the podium, courtesy of Spokane Arts. And one of their poets tonight, Dennis Held, reading Home Court Advantage. Dennis, come on down.
Hi, thanks for having me. Hello, fellow citizens. Look at all you beautiful, wonderful people here in Spokane. Thank you, City Council, for having me. This is a poem that has a recognizable place that it happens. It's down in Peaceful Valley. You may even wind up recognizing our old friend Todd Marshall, who stands about that high, fully grown, and his son Henry is about this tall when this poem takes place. It's called Home Court Advantage. That street-smart chime of a chainmail net rings from down at the Peaceful Valley Court, where Todd and Henry clang away on iron rims that don't forgive much, beneath the concrete stairs that lead to Brown's Addition, where the doctors ordered houses built by men who lived hereabouts. Henry's shorts are sagging, his teenage pockets knee-high, as he rags his papa's horrible defense down low, where the son scoops another underhanded layup that somehow surprises his dad every time. In my day, a father misplayed his kid's bunt with an obvious wild throw that led to an infield home run. The lies we tell ourselves are half the game. That's Home Court Advantage in a book called Ourselves. At Auntie's, yeah, you bet it is.
Thank you. Stay here,
Dennis.
stay here. Dennis.
Dennis,
Stay here.
stay there.
Uh-oh. Are you firing me from my official spot? Oh, a proclamation. I'm being proclaimed. That's what I'm talking about.
Ready? One, two, three. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we have three proclamations this evening, and the first one is Mother's Day proclamation. Councilmember Bingle.
All right. Whereas Mother's Day is a day annually to recognize the important role that mothers play in our community. Mothers are the heart and backbone of our families, and they work tirelessly to ensure that their children have everything they need to thrive. And whereas it is important that we take the time to acknowledge the contributions that these women make to our community. These women are the unsung heroes who put their families before themselves, sacrificing their own needs and wants for the benefit of their children. And whereas on Mother's Day 2023, I encourage all to join me in honoring the mothers in our community. Let us recognize their hard work and dedication, their selflessness and their love. Let us celebrate them for all they do, and let us take this opportunity to say thank you. Now, therefore, I, Nadine Woodward, Mayor of the City of Spokane, on behalf of the citizens of Spokane, do hereby proclaim May 14th, 2023 as Mother's Day in Spokane, and encourage all citizens to recognize the important role that mothers play in our community and express gratitude for their many contributions. And could we just take a moment and have all the mothers in here stand up and be recognized? God bless you all. Thank you so much.
All right,
Next, we're going to have a proclamation for Provider Appreciation Day. Councilmember Stratton.
Do we have somebody accepting this?
I don't know if Leanne Dixon's here or not. Leanne, come on down to the
Okay.
podium.
Okay. Whereas childcare provides a safe, nurturing place for the enrichment and development of millions of children nationwide and is a vital force in our economy. The pandemic illuminated how indispensable childcare providers are for the well-being and economic security of young children, families, and communities. And whereas childcare programs are mostly small businesses, run and staffed predominantly by women, are still recovering from health and financial hardships stemming from the pandemic, while they have continued to meet the needs of families. And whereas our future depends on the quality of the early childhood experiences provided to young children today, support for high-quality childcare represents a worthy commitment to our children's future. Now therefore, I, Nadine Woodward, Mayor of the City of Spokane, on behalf of the citizens of Spokane, do hereby proclaim May 12th, 2023 as Provider Appreciation Day in Spokane and urge all citizens to recognize child care providers for their very important work in our community.
Yeah, Leanne, feel free to share with us your perspective.
My name's Leanne Dixon, and I own Harvard Park Children's Learning Center. I just wanted to take this time to thank you for recognizing what an important role child care providers play to our families and our community. Provider Appreciation Day originated in New Jersey in 1996 and has grown each year. I am proud that Spokane has joined the nation's collective gratitude for those who support the social, emotional, and physical care of our youngest children. As the proclamation states, our future depends on the quality of early childhood experiences provided to young children today. I am grateful for your acknowledgement and support of early childhood educators.
All right, thank you. And next, we're going to have a proclamation for Asian American Heritage Month, and after that will be followed by 3 dance numbers from some Asian American dancers. But Councilmember Kinnear, go ahead and read the proclamation.
Thanks. And who do we have receiving
I
it?
think we have Nagmana
Okay.
Shirazi,
Wanna stand
and Ryan
up?
Louie was going to come up, maybe?
Okay. Whereas we recognize the vibrant cultures as well as innumerable contributions of the Asian American communities as some of the fastest growing racial and ethnic groups in the nation that represent a multitude of ethnicities, languages, and experience that enrich and strengthen our community. And whereas Asian Americans have made significant contributions to the growth, diversity of culture, and vibrancy of Spokane throughout its history and continue to enrich our community through contributions in many professions and fields, including those actively serving our nation at Fairchild Air Force Base. And whereas, despite the bitter hardships and political and social and economic conditions in the United States throughout the years, many Asian Americans continue to settle in Spokane as immigrants, refugees, and United States citizens to make Spokane their home and contribute to the economic prosperity, cultural diversity, and civic engagement that makes Spokane a wonderful community. And whereas May is traditionally recognized as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, we stand in solidarity with the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander community efforts to minimize erasure and harm in their national efforts towards disaggregation. Now, therefore, Nadine Woodward, Mayor of the City of Spokane, on behalf of the citizens of Spokane, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as Asian American Heritage Month in Spokane and encourage all citizens to celebrate the cultural diversity of Asian Americans by learning about the many cultures, languages, and ethnicities that embody the Asian American community. Please say a few words.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Dixit. I'm the co-chair of APIC Spokane alongside Ryan Louie. Thank you, Council President Beggs and City Council members. We are accepting the proclamation declaring May as Asian American Heritage Month. We at APIC Spokane stand in solidarity with our Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander community in their self-determination and national efforts to declare August as their Pacifica Heritage Month. Although aggregation in the past has contributed to solidarity between our communities, we also recognize that it has led to the erasure and harm of both of our wider communities.
It is now our honor to introduce in the form of dance the vibrancy and diversity of our Asian and Asian American community in Spokane and our heritage. First up is Dr. Devika Gates performing a Bharatnatyam number with her students at Nathanam School of Dance, which she owns and teaches at. She also has a PhD in organic chemistry, which she uses to teach at Spokane Community College, and is also a master of Bharatnatyam. This is a 2,005-year-old school of dance from the Indian subcontinent. Joining Dr. Gates are her students Naya Gates, Radhika Sharma, Neharika Sharma, and Alyssa Matuchniak. Right, so let's just, are we doing the performance first? Okay, let's just do this.
No, do the No, come up, and then we'll do the photos afterwards. So go ahead. Come on up.
அழகில் ஜோதிக அமுத din ta din din ta tom tom ta ri ta janu ta din ta ga tom janu ta din ta din ta 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 na ri ta janu ta la janu ta ja ta ja ta na janu din ki ta din bela tom ne kamna unando da kariyavan.
Hello, I'm Rowena Pineda. I'm the chair of the board of APIC Spokane, and I'm here to introduce Dance Motion, a recreational and competitive dance studio where dancers compete locally and nationally. Dance Motions was started by Lauren Stout in 2012. Lauren is Chinese and white and grew up dancing in Southern California. She moved to Spokane to attend Whitworth University, where she graduated with her education degree. Between De Guzman, who is Filipino and Chinese, and Lexi Hardesty, who is of Korean heritage, are part of the Teen Impact Company team and are performing their competitive hip-hop routine.
That was awesome.
Great.
Lastly, we have a group of students from the Natanam Dance School performing a Bollywood routine. They are Naya Gates, Ciara McKell, Courtney McKell, Charity McKell, Sienna Fackrell, Evie Fackrell, and Madison Lynn.
No, that's fine.
It might not pick up as well like on the video later or on the TV stream, but for in here, yeah, that's really fine.
But you could also put it closer to the microphone.
Ready, you guys? You dolida?
These performances show the intergenerational and cultural shifts in our Asian and Asian American community. We are not a monolith. As you can see, we are not just our food. We are not just our traditional cultural dances. We are a diverse and unique population of people. And just like people change, our language and the ways our institutions recognize us also need to change. We hope you all enjoyed these offerings from the Asian and Asian American community in Spokane, and thank you for your time tonight.
Will the Asian community members please come up and take a picture with City Council Beggs, President Beggs? Everybody.
Yeah.
Do a little squat.
All right.
We could do that, though. We just have to practice.
That was so good. That was great.
All right, we have another community report from Lynn Kimball, who's the Executive Director of Aging and Long-Term Care of Eastern Washington. And Lynn comes to us every year and gives us a report. So welcome to City Council.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I can't top that. There's no way. That was absolutely wonderful. So I'm here on behalf of Aging and Long-Term Care. We are your local area agency on aging, and the City of Spokane is one of the members of our interlocal agreement. So thank you to Councilmember Stratton, who serves on our governing board. And also in the audience today is Dr. Maria Hernandez-Peck, who has been your appointee to our Planning and Management Council for over 30 years. So thank you, Maria, for coming out today. So I just have a little bit of information about our agency, some of the things that are new, and then some data for this past year. So now that we've had a chance to pull it. So just as a reminder, our organization is here to serve older adults and people with disabilities. So our goal is to help people stay at home, to live in the community, and to have support. So it's to support older adults, people with disabilities, and their caregivers. And we serve a 5-county area in Eastern Washington. We like to point out that the best way for people to start with accessing our services is through our Community Living Connections helpline, because there's so many different kinds of support available. We like to help people really find out what is the best fit for them. So information is up here about all of the different things we offer through the helpline. But two of the new things that we've been doing that I did want to highlight a little bit was dementia support. So we do have a dementia specialist on staff. We were really fortunate to be a pilot site in Washington State to really start building out what are supports in our community and making Spokane a dementia-friendly community. And one of the pieces we found is you really need to have that additional support and guidance and just somebody to bounce ideas off of, whether it's behaviors, whether it's legal planning, really trying to find the way, because dementia is a rising issue in our communities and the people that we serve. And the other is our housing assistance. So we have actually built out now 2 counselors that work with older adults that are looking for housing, that are experiencing housing instability or homelessness, and helping people just find a place to rent that they can afford and really stay stable and out of homelessness if at all possible. And we have many other resources. So it is a wide range of resources in Spokane for older adults and others. And we work with some amazing partners, so Spokane Neighborhood Action Partners, Frontier Behavioral Health, Greater Spokane County Meals on Wheels, Gonzaga, and many others to make sure that we've got really a basis of services throughout the community to help serve people. So for 2022, just a few highlights. So we served over 9,000 people here in Spokane. Our biggest services still remain to be that helpline, so information and assistance, helping to guide people through the system. We're over 4,500 individuals receiving Medicaid and home care, so getting paid caregivers to actually help them stay in their homes. We supported almost 3,000 seniors with over 200,000 meals through our meal nutrition partners here in Spokane. Medicare counseling, supporting family caregivers, and many other services and supports. Looking at some of our data in a little bit of a deeper dive, over 60% of those we serve are actually under 100% of the federal poverty level. So they're at or below, which is terrible when you think about 9,000 older adults. For age distribution, about 75% of those receiving our services are over age 60. So we do tend towards upper age range, 60%, 66% female, 34% male, especially as we get older. Women tend to live longer, and especially when you look at programs that serve people living in poverty, older women tend to be disproportionately impacted. And we also pulled the race and ethnicity distributions. You can see of our community members who's being served. Do want to note other actually includes people with 2 or more race and ethnicity categories. The data didn't pull it out, as well as people who declined to disclose. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions, but I really appreciate the support of the City of Spokane in helping older adults and people with disabilities stay in the community and live at home.
Any questions or comments? Councilmember Wilkerson.
Lynn, good to see you.
Good to see you.
How has your staffing levels been in supporting all these programs over the last year or so?
We've actually grown quite a bit in the last year or so, and that's for those who are actually directly employed by our agency. Where we see the biggest staffing shortage is for caregivers. So for our home care agency partners and people employed by Consumer Directive Washington, that is where the biggest struggle is actually the in-home caregivers providing that direct support.
Thanks.
Councilmember Stratton.
Lynn, I just want to say to everybody, this is an amazing organization. It's a great board. I'm going to be gone at the end of the year, so somebody else is going to have to step up. But it's a very well-run organization. It's a great board. There's a lot of dedication and hard work that goes on behind these numbers. So thank you so much for all you do, because it does make a difference.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Yeah.
What's the age span of your board? We have some young council members that would probably represent well. Because the rest of us are over 60.
Oh,
so.
yeah. I'm trying to think if we do have some younger members on our governing board now. We do.
Good, great.
I know, I'm trying to think.
I would like to nominate the youngest of us.
Well, aging happens to us all, so it is universal, as well as most of us have the experience at some point in our life of taking care of family members. So we would welcome anyone, regardless of age, to our governing board.
It's usually the sign of gray hair that you know that someone's aging, right?
Say there's nothing wrong with aging.
All right, then thanks so much for coming and all that you and your organization do.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Lynn.
All right, so we're switching gears after a very engaging first part of our session. We're going to go to the legislative session, and we start out, or we don't have any nominations for boards and commissions, so we're going to go to open forum. So again, council rules on open forum are you have up to 2 minutes to address us on any issue related to city business, as long as it's not on tonight's agenda or next week's agenda. Also, we ask that you don't address us on issues of private litigation that the city's not involved with. In terms of rules that apply both to legislative issues and open forum, on the legislative issues, it's up to 3 minutes. And for the timer, regardless of whether you have 2 minutes or 3 minutes, it will turn yellow when you have 1 minute left. And then when your time is up, it'll turn red, and I'll ask you to finish up and sit down. If you have more to say, you can come back on another time to talk with us, or you can always email us. Most people also take calls, and people even meet with people individually if you want to discuss things. Some of the other common rules are we ask that you address your comments to the chair of the meeting, which is me for tonight, that you don't denigrate any individuals, that you avoid any vulgarities, that you avoid shouting or pounding the podium. We ask that you don't display signs or march around or sing if we're in the audience. No clapping, totally contrary to what we just did. There's no clapping during the legislative session or booing. We're trying to create a safe, neutral space for as far as noise goes. It is permitted to have a hat with slogans, T-shirts, or buttons. I think that is all the main council rules that we have. And so with that, what I do is if there's more than one person speaking, I read the first three people. The first person can come up to the podium, and then the other two can sit in the front row so it's easier, and then I'll keep updating that. And so first tonight, I'm going to ask Sherry Barnett to come up. And after Sherry is going to be Dennis Flynn and then Rick Bocook.
President Beggs and all members of the City Council, Sherry Barnett, and I live in Spokane. And I'm still on the same subject. I still see danger signs in our, I want to tell you a story. It's a story called Samson and Delilah. And Samson was meant to rescue the nation of Israel. But he just kept playing around with Delilah. And God had so made it to where every time they tied him up with this, that, and something else that she betrayed him with, he was able to jump free. But we're right down to the deadline. It's a spiritual battle between God and evil. And Samson better wake up, because we are losing our right to freedom of speech. When I see what they're doing to President Trump and to every member of any patriotic group that was there on January 6th, and there is no comparison. If those people had really wanted to turn things over, they could have done a lot different than what they did. But to put them in prison without trial, held like they've been held, I think Samson better wake up. And this country needs to wake up, or we will lose our freedom of speech, our freedom to bear arms. And believe me, Ukraine tossed that one away. They're sorry, they did. All right, I thank you, and I thank God that I'm here. Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming down, Sherry. Dennis Flynn, and then Rick Bocook, and then William Hagee. Welcome.
Thank you. Dennis Flynn, live in Spokane, near St. Charles. I'm submitting a printout in case 2 minutes isn't enough, but it should be. I was here last week, and I was glad to see public comment from different viewpoints. Whether or not I agree with the methodologies, I do agree with the principles that people expressed last week. No one wants to see people arrested who would better be helped with treatment than incarceration. Everybody wants responsible people to be able to afford a decent place to live, and not many wouldn't not want to be a young man or woman unafraid of the risks that come with walking through our current downtown. However, likewise, no one wants to face the hard reality that treatment might require involuntary commitment for many of these people and in massive funding that might be pulled from other needs. Many can't fathom that a decent place to live requires earning enough to afford it. And not many who actually have sacrificed for spouse, family, and community would want to return to their younger life of less to love and meager responsibility. Two common elements among the examples I listed are resources and choices. Utopia and unlimited resources is for the life after this one. Being still on earth requires choices that impact what we have, and I do not envy you the choices you have to make for our city amongst competing demands as varied as the last several weeks of weather. But you did sign on to making choices regarding resources, and as a property, vehicle, and sales tax paying constituent, I expect you to do it efficiently and effectively, because it's my dang money that provides you those resources with which to apply to your choices. Does anyone think it's an efficient or effective use of your time and attention to compose, deliberate, and pass a resolution in protection of people from another state seeking to come here regarding something which our state law is nowhere near your purview? No, it's not. Does anyone think it's a waste of time and resources to throw out the paid work and instead impose your own redistricting map? Yes, we do. As you make choices, I implore you to do so with efficiency and effectiveness. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Dennis. Rick Bocook, and then William Hagee, and then Jesse Peterson.
Greetings. A few days ago, I was coming from YWCA through the park, and so I see one of these people that are a level 3 sex offender. sitting on a bench right by the playground. And I start processing in this mind now, what do I do about people like this? There's no laws that I can find. What's disturbing, people talk about how dangerous downtown Spokane is. This is the area that they don't ever talk about. There's 50 level 2, level 3 sex offenders in the downtown area. You look behind me, and including you, look at the number behind me and you, that's about 50 people, what we have in this audience. You think about that number. They're in the plaza, they're at the park, and nothing's done about it. You can call 911, they won't do nothing about it. I want to start putting flyers up on anyone I recognize. I think there needs to be a pressure. They should not be around children. They have a sickness, and they're predators. And they have this one little thing that sets them aside. They got manners, and they're charming. I got deceived by one of them when I was playing my music, and I was looking up a sex offender for somebody, and here this person is. It's very disturbing. So if you want to talk about the dangerous part of downtown, it's the level 3, level 2 sex offenders that prey on your daughters and your sons and your children. And that, I think, needs to be brought up to a level where something needs to be done about it. They should not be allowed to be next to playgrounds. They need to just go back to where they're staying. 50 in this downtown area. Do you know who they are? They're listed, they're registered, but they're there. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Rick. William Hagee. After William Hagee, Jesse Peterson, and then Ivan Ernovitz. Welcome.
Good evening, President Beggs. Thank you very much, members of the council. I just want to give an update from the West Hills Neighborhood Council. You've all been involved in emails and so on and so forth. Critical areas, there's been a tremendous amount of progress made throughout the critical areas, and we're very pleased to be working with the city administrator, Johnny Perkins, on that, code enforcement as well. As we know, there's been some environmental concerns, and Spokane has a beautiful river running through it, including Latah Creek. As far as our neighborhood boundaries, reaching out to TG Minok Bridge, Holy Names Court, there's a considerable amount of tree removal along the bluff, and I would ask that perhaps members of the council or yourself could reach out with some ideal opportunities that could make progress greater as far as environmental protection. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, William. Is Jesse Peterson here? What? Oh, sorry. Their phone. I'm sorry, Jesse. Jesse, if you want to hit *3.
Well, sorry, what's that? There were a few people that had an incorrect password, but we sent the correct one to Jesse.
All right. Well, let's move to Ivan, and after Ivan, it's Will Hewlings, and then Justice for All. Welcome, Ivan.
Thank you very much. My name is Ivan Ernovitz, and I'm president of the Spokane City Council of the Navy League. The Spokane Council of the Navy League of the United States. That organization was founded in 1902, and our local group came about in 1958. We, along with others, asked the council to take action to resolve the controversy surrounding Navy Ensign John Monaghan, which we consider a true American hero. More to the point, our community has kicked this can down the road long enough, and we need to do something to get it resolved. We urge you to establish a task force that includes all stakeholders to review the facts, work through the issues, and make recommendations that will bring our community together, not drive the wedge of distrust and animosity even deeper. We also ask that such a task force be chaired by a person viewed as fair-minded, and a good example to me would be Councilmember Karen Stratton. I know you're a short timer, but you could still do a great job no matter how long it took.
Thank you.
Though we thoroughly disagree with their false narrative, the activists have raised several valid issues. First is respect. The use of the word savage on the monument is from a bygone era. It is now recognized as a racial slur and should be replaced with a more appropriate word. Next is recognition. The monument is silent on why Monaghan and the Navy were even in Samoa. Additional plaques would provide much needed context, including Samoan views. Last is reconciliation. Taking down the statue will not bring reconciliation, but only serve to inflame dislike toward Asian Pacific Islanders in our community. To bring about true reconciliation, we must help the Samoan and traditional American communities engage with each other to foster mutual understanding and trust. There are win-win solutions available to us. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the time.
Thanks so much for coming down, Ivan.
You're welcome.
Will Hewlings. After Will is Justice for All, and then Zach Widmer.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My name is Will Hewlings. I live downtown Spokane, Washington. I don't think I could talk about the drug thing because
You could testify about it. Did you sign up for that?
Yeah,
yeah. We'll hear from you then.
Okay, well, I'll just go to what I was going to speak about. I was just going to say I really appreciated the support for Chief Midle showing up, people showing up and standing up for what they believe in. And it really touched my heart. I wish people would show up like that all the time, not just one day because, for whatever reason. But also, like I said, it's my hope that you guys realize what I said last time. If anybody's corrupt, and I hope everybody, because this is televised, realizes that, by you creating that noise ordinance, and I'm going to keep on beating it, that basically you silence Christians. You silence their First Amendment right, pretty much, because now they can get in trouble. You got Luis Garcia out there, and I just find it a waste of money, first off, having them out there, and then to have 10 to 15 police officers out there basically guarding a business. It's kind of concerning, because if you actually go at 7 o'clock in the evening, Planned Parenthood's closed. So I hope you think about that and stop falling for these different groups because they hear something or whatever. These 20 different groups that got up here and cried about Chief Midle, because it's happening all over. But anyways, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Will. Justice for All. And after Justice is Zach Widmer, and then Sal Manila. Or Mania, not sure. Welcome.
My name is Justice for All. I live in the city of Spokane. I want to talk about the proposed ordinance to make it a jailable offense to be in the park after dark. There are several Spokaneites who use both public transit that runs after the parks close and the trails that run through the park that grant safe passageway for those who work swing shift or have to take over for those who work grave. And for those young people who are not at school during the hot summer nights, where are they supposed to go? What public spaces are available to Spokane's youth? We do not need unnecessary and confusing new laws to criminalize already citable behavior. We do not need to jail people for being in the park too early or too late. We do not need to criminalize our children, further criminalize the poor and the working class. We should be creating spaces to address community issues, not shut them down. We should be working on reducing our criminal population, not creating more laws to criminalize the public. It is already an infraction. Why should this be a misdemeanor? Also, extend the hours of the park during the summer. It's hot, and most people want to hang out at the park at night because it's one of Spokane's treasures. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Justice. Zach Widmer, and then Sal. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, y'all. I was just coming down to share my thoughts after a certain thing that happened, and I just wanted to say, Bingle, your hair looks great. I know it's a little gray, but it's looking really good. Wow, culture of fear here. That was my first comment. But when I was at a recent neighborhood council meeting, one thing that I really found interesting was that we didn't really have to compromise on anything ever. We kind of got to say exactly what we wanted, and there was no consequence, even though I know that there are secret consequences that happen when we get what we want. And when I look around at our city, that's kind of what I see, is we're suffering from all of these secret consequences that are happening when we make our first choice what we think we want. And so I don't really have any solutions for this, but it's just something that I'm noticing is that we're kind of suffering from our first choice. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks for coming down. Is Sal here? I don't know if it's Salmonella or Salmonia from Cheney, but not seeing. Oh, it's another joke one. Okay, I'm so straightforward. Like, okay. All right. Maygrav Flatman from Liberty Lake.
That's what I've been saying.
I believe it. And she's on phone. Yeah.
It's fabulous. It's great.
You want to hit *3, Megra?
Hi,
Right.
my name is
Welcome.
Megra Flatman, and thank you for putting forth a resolution 2 weeks ago now, requesting Mayor Woodward comply with the Spokane Municipal Code. Thank you for following some of the recommendations of the Office of Police Ombudsman suggested during their investigation of police misconduct, which was stymied by all the policemen involved. Please continue to follow these recommendations of the OPO, including establishing a policy and disclosure agreement for all employees and having case updates solely between internal affairs and the designee, with no other party allowed to influence or direct internal IAF investigations. Please implement a reform agenda with strong community engagement that includes hiring a director for the Office of Civil Rights, Equity, and Inclusion. This office was created in 2020 and is still not staffed, and it desperately needs to be. On May 7th, 2021, Police Chief Meidel forwarded an email from a community member to police officers asking them to, quote, track violent crimes associated with homeless in Spokane, like the community member requested. 6 weeks later, SPD created a way to track these, quote, transients. This isn't the first time Meidel prioritized these few business owners. On August 12, 2021, the same business owner emailed that, quote, we are looking for other ways to enforce, because without any shelter capacity, it is illegal to enforce sit and lie. He repeats, quote, we need to find other ways to enforce. 2 weeks later, on August 26, 2021, Chief Meidel emailed City Administrator Johnny Perkins suggesting the city use public funds to, quote, create a slightly narrower pathway, which then prevents sleeping subject to pedestrian interference in Brown Viaduct. This criminalization of Spokanites and intended misuse of public funds is horrifying and part of what the Office of the Police Ombudsman denounced in their findings. Please continue to use your subpoena powers and follow the OPO's recommendations. Please staff the Office of Civil Rights, Equity, and Inclusion. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Megra. Ms. Pfister, could you please read the consent agenda?
Reports, contracts, and claims. Number 1, 5-year value blanket with Allied Envelope Spokane for the purchase of envelopes for multiple city departments from May 15, 2023 through May 14, 2028, $100,000 annually plus tax. Number 2, purchase of traffic paint for the street department utilizing Washington State contract number 02817 and Pierce County contract number SC-109061, $150,000. Number 3, amendment to previously authorized purchase from Salt Distributors Incorporated, Spokane Valley, Washington, for additional road salt for the street department, utilizing Washington State contract number 11021 due to unanticipated winter conditions, additional $42,255.27. Total purchase amount $182,255.27. Number 4, amendment to value blanket with GMCO, formerly Roadwise, for additional liquid de-icer for the street department, utilizing pricing on Washington State contract number 02714 due to unanticipated winter conditions, additional $172,000 $644.76. Total purchase amount, $1,672,644.76. Number 5, purchase from Dobbs Peterbilt, Liberty Lake, Washington, of 3 rear load truck chassis and Labrie rear load bodies for the solid waste collection department, utilizing Sourcewell Contract Crane Carrier Company number 060920, Labrie number 091219 LEG, estimated expenditure $1,500,000. Number 6, 3-year contract with Moss Energy Works, Redding, California, to supply renewable natural gas for use in our solid waste collections fleet and to assist the city in receiving associated alternative fuel credits. $230,000 estimated revenue annually. Number 7, 5-year value blanket with Two Rivers Terminal LLC, Pasco, Washington, for the purchase of citric acid 50% solution for the Riverside Park Water Reclamation Facility on an as-needed basis from May 8, 2023 through May 7, 2028, $987,812.50. Number 8, Fleet Services request to amend OPR 2022-572 to change which vehicles are to be purchased as follows. Purchase up to 46 Ford K8 hybrid police patrol vehicles, except that if Ford cancels any amount allocated to the Spokane Police Department from its 2022 order, police may instead, upon written notice to City Council, purchase Ford K8 police interceptors in amount to make up for canceled orders of hybrid vehicles. Number 9, master contract renewal 2 of 2 with F.A. Bartlett Tree Expert Company, Spokane Valley, Washington, for arborist on-call services for multiple city departments from May 1, 2023 through April 30, 2024, not to exceed $250,000. Number 10, amendment to consultant agreement with HDR Engineering Incorporated, Spokane, for on-call civil engineering services for 2021-2023 non-federal aid projects from August 16, 2021 through July 31, 2023. Additional $300,000, total contract amount $700,000. Item number 11 is deferred to May 15, 2023 agenda. Number 12, low bid of Landmark Structures 1 LP, Fort Worth, Texas, for high system additional reservoir project, $9,842,000 plus tax. An administrative reserve of $984,200 plus tax, which is 10% of the contract price, will be set aside. Number 13, special counsel contract amendment number 2 with Craig Trueblood of the law firm of K&L Gates LLP, Spokane, for outside counsel services regarding the appeal of the city's NPDES permit, additional $100,000. Total contract amount $250,000. Number 14, value blanket with CompuNet for the purchase of Cisco hardware products and license subscriptions without bringing each purchase over the city purchase limit of $50,000 to City Council for approval, $450,000 including tax. Number 15, contract with Journal Technologies Incorporated, JTI, Logan, Utah, for annual maintenance and support of city's legal case management system, E-Series, from March 1, 2023 through February 28, 2024, $150,719.62 plus tax. JTI was deemed a sole source provider. Number 16, contract renewal with Carasoft Incorporated, Reston, Virginia, for Salesforce licenses, including annual maintenance and support, from May 1, 2023 through April 30, 2024, $122,633.11 plus tax. Item number 17, memorandum of understanding and agreement with Spokane Neighborhood Action Programs to establish and manage a program for applicant qualification verification services to provide transparent and fair utility bill cost relief to city customers from May 1, 2023 through April 30, 2026, $352,000. Number 18, assistance awards in accordance with the approved Tranche 3 of ARPA allocation small business assistance awards to 28 additional local small businesses due to extension of Round 1, additional $710,479.43. Total Round 1 awards, $2,061,806.60. Number 19, new access agreement allowing for the continuation of access to an existing cell tower near the Dwight Merkel Sports Complex. Number 20, report of the mayor pending 8 claims and payments of previously approved obligations, including those of Parks and Library through April 28, 2023. Total $5,535,971.54 with Parks and Library claims approved with respect to boards. Warrants excluding Parks and Library total $5,100,140. B, payroll claims of previously approved obligations through April 29, 2023, $8,602,639.38. Number 21, City Council meeting minutes for April 24, 2023. Number 22, interlocal agreement with Spokane Regional Broadband Development Authority regarding necessary open access broadband infrastructure services, delivery enhancements, and digital equity solutions.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, no. Any abstentions? All right, consent agenda is approved. I'd like to go to the special budget ordinance.
Ordinance C-36-381, amending ordinance number C-36-345, passed by the City Council December 12, 2022, and entitled an ordinance adopting the annual budget of the City of Spokane for 2023, making appropriations to the various funds of the City of Spokane government for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2023, and providing it shall take effect immediately upon passage, and declaring an emergency and appropriating funds in Real Estate Excise Tax Fund, number 1, increase appropriation by $1 million. A of the increased appropriation, $1 million, is provided solely as an operating transfer out to the Capital Facilities Fund. And Capital Facilities Fund, number 1, increased revenue by $1 million. A of the increased revenue, $1 million, is provided solely as an operating transfer in from the Real Estate Excise Tax Fund. Number 2, increased appropriation by $1 million. A of the increased appropriation, $1 million, is provided solely for capital expenditures related to the permanent construction of restroom and shower facilities at Track. This action arises from the need to make capital improvements at Track for eventual cost savings.
All right, we have two people who have asked to testify. Justice for All first, and then Dennis Flynn. And now it is 3 minutes. Welcome.
I just want to say, after hearing several reports of frozen feces during the winter, hearing that they were flooded or clogged with just over flooding with, human excrement, it is amazing that this is finally being done. The warehouse for human beings finally is going to have running water, and they're finally going to have access to, a little bit more of humane treatment. But for so long, what was going on? How could we even call that a humane shelter? How is that a Spokane solution for our unhoused problem? It honestly isn't. It is very sickening. The treatment, the reports that have come out of the Track shelter are terrible. Larry Stone is continuing to make, $60,000 every month? It's so much money that is being wasted towards something that's not the city's capital, right? This is a capital expenditures fund, but you don't own the building. It's still not owned by the city. It's still owned by Larry Stone. You're making improvements to somebody else's building. But at this point, this is so necessary. My heart is broken on this issue completely. My disappointment is at an all-time high when it came down to the Track shelter and the lack of resources when it came to the people who are unhoused in Spokane. I really hope that as it gets hotter that you will have additional resources available, because it's going to hit 90 degrees sooner than we know. And we're going to wait until more people die on the street before we do anything? I hope to God not. I hope the Track shelter sees significant improvements. And obviously having a bathroom is a huge improvement. Other conditions that were talked about were during the winter, if you were the second one to shower, you would not have warm water. The first person to shower is the only one to get warm water. And these showers were outside in freezing cold weather. Just absolutely ridiculous, absolutely abysmal. I'm sure I have high standards, but at least I have some. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. Dennis Flynn. Welcome back. You have up to 3 minutes.
Dennis Flynn, live in Spokane. Earlier talked about efficiency and effectiveness. So just what I read in this is, and I don't know if it's too late to amend this. If not, then please do. If so, then please keep this in mind for future types of resolutions like this or budget transfers. So I would amend it to return anything less than the $1 million that's allocated back to the Real Estate Excise Tax Fund. And I would amend it to identify those eventual cost savings that they also be sent back to the Real Estate Tax Fund until the full $1 million is repaid. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
Council President, I'd like to make a motion. I would move that we defer consideration of this until June 5th.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councilmember Cathcart.
And I will just say, I think that the lack of a cohesive conversation around the funding for the shelter has really obscured the cost that this shelter is costing us. And we really do not have a long-term plan in place to fund this. And I think that we need to identify exactly how we will be paying for this long-term, meaning beyond 2023, before we decide to put $1 million plus into a building we do not own, we cannot afford to buy, and the owner has zero intention to sell us. So I believe that we need to have a much bigger conversation around this issue before we can commit these tax dollars to this purpose.
Councilmember Kinnear.
I agree. More importantly, this $1 million is only the beginning, because administration is asking for ARPA money too. We don't have a firm figure on this. We have this, but that number has been dancing around it. We've never really landed on what it is. So that's my concern. And as you and I were discussing today, Councilmember Bengal, using REIT money makes me nervous too, because it takes a long time to build that up, and $1 million is a lot of REIT money. We need some of that for a match for grants for streets. So, yeah.
Councilmember Bingle.
And that was going to be my point. I think the $1 million on the improvements, I get where everybody's coming from. We don't own the building, and you're not wrong. But that $1 million capital investment does allow us to do things that we heard in testimony of allowing people to have, access to consistent warm showers, clean water, plumbing, and from, the mind-blowing estimates of how much laundry costs us, we'll save that amount of money, that $1 million in 1 year, based on what they're doing in there. So that seems to make a lot of sense for me. But back to what you were just saying, what we talked about earlier is considering where commercial real estate is going right now, and considering how our REIT dollar funds go up and down as the market goes, with commercial real estate about to hit a cliff and tons of defaults about to happen, I have real concerns that we're not going to be able to replenish these dollars out of REIT. And I've had strong concerns about pulling money from this, because if we set the precedent now to pull the money from here to spend on that, I don't think that we find a time in our life where we're not asking for money from that again for a specific purpose. And like you said, these are dollars that are used, for street grant matches and things like that. So I wish that we could separate this into two, and I would vote for the capital improvements, and I might vote against the operational expenses. All that being said, we do have a budget crisis where we don't really have the ability to pull money from many other places to fund this operation. And so, it always comes back to, this is not a compassion issue. This is a math problem. And the math just doesn't add up right now when you're talking about budget dollars. So if it goes forward tonight, I will begrudgingly vote for it. But again, as many other council members have brought up, we seriously need to consider how much we do need to get firm numbers, like Councilmember Cathcart said, and we all understand that we're in a tough spot.
I'm going to urge a vote against the amendment to defer it. I agree that trying to use a large warehouse without bathrooms is a very ill-fated plan, and was mostly, in my opinion, an attempt to win a legal argument, not to really help people or the city. It didn't work on the legal argument. It did keep some people out of the weather. It saved lives, but I think there was probably a far more efficient way and a humane way to do it. I think we need to go, if we're going to have people there, we need to have bathrooms and showers, and we should have done it long ago. And every delay, even though it'd be a month, is one more month. And I don't see a way that we're not going to be operating the Trent shelter in the next couple of years. So I think we should go ahead and do it, but I have the same concerns everyone. We were only given one option, and it was either that option or people are freezing to death, so we took the option begrudgingly. But I hope you will not defer it, although I share everyone's concerns that have spoken so far. So, Councilmember Wilkerson.
I would just ask Councilmember Cathcart, what would you be looking for if we deferred it for 2 weeks or a month? that we haven't been asking for already and have
Yeah.
not received.
Yeah, and the reason June 5th specifically is because we have a study session on May 22nd where we're going to talk about these issues. And we
With
do
who?
not have a May 29th meeting. So June 5th is the next available council meeting.
Do we have somebody from administration? Are they going to talk to us about those issues?
I don't know. Matt Boston's the one leading that discussion. So I'm not sure who from the administration will be in that. But I believe for well over a year, since this began, we have been given small pieces of information along the way. And I believe that has backed us into the corner we are in. And the only way we're going to solve this, whether it's in the short term or the long term, is to have that holistic discussion. I have no desire to just shut this down tomorrow at all. I want to find a sustainable solution so that it can actually continue in a way that's positive for the folks we're trying to help, as well as the neighborhood that it's in. So I just don't believe that continuing to allow us to be backed into this corner is the right direction for us to go.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
I just have to say, back last September, I kept asking for the total package.
Yeah.
I consistently, what is a total package?
I just interrupt. It wasn't September. It was May and June last year.
May and June, okay, well, all right. Well, that's what happens to old people. But we've never seen a total package on what the cost of this shelter is going to be. Currently or going forward, there is no money for next year. My only challenge is, I don't know if we're going to get anything different or any new information than what we have gotten already. That's the issue before us, because we've asked and asked and asked, and there is no other plan. I am going to begrudgingly as well vote against the deferment. It is getting warm. It's inhumane to expect people to live in a shelter without running water. If you go there, there is one water hose that fills the coffee pots, that fills the buckets to mop the floor, that fills the bucket to disinfect and clean the shelter. And they are doing a decent job based on the limitation of resources they have. And I as well don't see a path forward that we're not going to be doing a shelter, because next is, where will the cooling shelters be? And that might be next week that we have to address that issue, and we don't have a solution for that problem as either.
Councilmember Stratton.
I just want to bring to everybody's attention, and I hope you see and feel it up here, that we have all talked about this and shared our thoughts, and we're kind of all in the same boat, I think, is that there's a great deal of frustration. This is a warehouse that was opened to put a lot of human beings in without a whole lot of thought. The frustration that I think most of us have is we don't own the building, so we'll be making improvements to a building we don't own, which I'm not comfortable with. But I also, on the human side, I can't even think about the people living there and being sheltered there and getting resources there, not having adequate restroom facilities, running water, just the basic humane services that we all deserve. So there is a lot of frustration. There's a little bit of anger. If you hear it in me, it is anger that we have gone this long with very little information. To me, it was a way to, if we got everybody off the street and put them in this shelter, then we didn't see them. And there will be a population in Spokane that's going to be happy because we don't see homeless people anymore. Well, we're still dealing with it on the back end. And it's heartbreaking, and I have an enormous amount of respect for Councilmember Cathcart and what he's trying to do. I won't support the deferral because I worry we've got to get this stuff done to keep people safe. And I feel very strongly that we either move now or it's just going to get worse.
Councilmember Bingham.
Is it possible to split this into two and approve the $1 million for the capital program there, but defer the rest of it? Is that possible?
Well, you have to identify where the funds. So if you're not going to use real estate excise tax,
Right.
you would have to amend this to say this is the fund it's going to come out of.
So if we allowed the $1 million from REIT for the capital, but deferred the rest of it, that's for operating. Is that possible?
It's not. It's only for the capital. The million is only for the capital.
The operations budget has not come to us yet because, again, that's a moving target.
That's the conundrum.
Yeah.
We don't know what the other part is.
That's right.
So we've got this in front of us, but nobody said what else is going to be needed.
They use the term operating transfer in, but that's not the operating budget of track.
It's just the accounting of
Yeah.
moving the money from
Yeah.
one spot to the other.
Yeah.
Councilmember Zepon.
Yeah, just to go back to the question that Councilmember Wilkerson asked Councilmember Cathcart. At that study session, I guess, like, what information do you think we'll get then that we don't have now? Because I'm with you. I 100% agree. I just don't believe we're going to have any more clarity on that date because it's been a year of asking.
Yeah,
And I don't know. What is the tipping point? I
No,
guess?
it's fair. I mean, and we haven't had the meeting yet, so I don't entirely know what will come out of it. But I do know that I don't think at any single point since the shelter opened that we have really had this holistic conversation. And I don't know of any other way that we're going to get there. I just don't. And maybe the 22nd comes and we don't have a resolution and we make a tough decision on this. But I believe that that gives us at least a goal of saying, hey, we need to find some sustainable solution to this. Let's figure it out, at least in part, in that meeting.
So the amendment on the floor is to defer to June 5th. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, no.
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 No. Any abstentions? All right, the amendment does not pass. We're down to the matter itself. Is there any other testimony about the actual special budget ordinance? Councilmember Ringel.
I'll just quickly say again, I think the $1 million investment in getting those facilities established in that building is a wise financial move considering how much money over the years it is actually going to save us. You can debate the lease, you can debate all this other stuff, but those capital improvements on this building are going to save us considerable amount of money over the next few years. And so I think this is a wise financial move for us to do this, not to mention obviously all of the real needs in that facility for the improvements.
Councilmember Cathcart and then Kinnear.
Yeah, I just respectfully will disagree with my seatmate. Looking at the numbers, I mean, it's going to take 2 years before this pencils, and I frankly have no clue how we are going to pay for this for the next 2 years. That is my fear. We are going to put $1.5 million to $2 million into a building we do not own, we cannot afford to buy, and the seller has no plan to sell us. And then what happens if we can no longer afford to operate this facility? Now, maybe we can move it into the regional effort. That's really my goal. I think that's the way we should move. But as a city-funded project, I just don't know the answer, and we have not come to that conclusion yet. We've asked for RFPs on various services to go out, including the operations, to see if we can find some less expensive options that will still meet our needs. Those have not gone out at all. So I'm just left with nothing but questions. And I just cannot vote to put, again, a significant amount of taxpayer dollars out of a volatile fund into this project without having those answers first. So I will be a no tonight, unfortunately.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you, Councilmember Cathcart, but it is a humanitarian need. We've been put in a horrible position, and we're being forced to make a decision where, number one, we don't have all the information, but number two, everything you said, it's not our building. It hasn't had anything done to it, really, since we took it over. We don't know where we're going to get the money next year to pay for a provider. But at the same time, here we are with folks who need a humanitarian solution. And honestly, I'm having a hard time not being horribly resentful. I will vote for this, but I'm going to, plug my nose and do it because I don't see it. I don't see another way.
Councilmember Stratton.
I just want to add that I want to add this publicly that I'm very disappointed and frustrated that we have no one from city administration here, either the city administrator or the mayor. This is a big deal, and it would be great if they were here to answer questions and to share our concerns and our feelings and try and make us feel. I know Kim's done a great job keeping everybody posted on what's going on, but this really has been kind of a lot of people stuck in a hurricane with no good way out. So I just want to say that it's too bad that they're not here tonight.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Councilmember Kinnear, I hear you about plugging your nose and just swallowing this, but there is over 300 people out there at the Trent shelter. And not to provide some basic humanitarian needs is unconscionable, and it has been. We have been providing what we could at extremely high cost, extremely high cost. But to think about closing that shelter down and 300 people back on the streets in our city is something I don't even want to contemplate. No. And by our own ordinance, we have set up that we need to provide shelter for the citizens of Spokane. So we are between a rock and a hard place, and the rock is won, basically, because I will be in support of this tonight.
Councilmember Sapone.
Yeah, I'll unfortunately be also in support of this. No one here is happy about this vote. I don't think anyone in the city should be happy about how this is going down. But to me, it comes to two things. It's irresponsible to financially take this burden on, and it's an irresponsible use of taxpayer funding to financially benefit a building that we don't own. So 100% agree with Councilmember Cathcart there. But then I also agree with my other council members that it's immoral not to do anything. And that's the choice, to be financially responsible or immoral. And in this case, I think we have to spend the money because it's a humanitarian crisis out there, and we have to do something, even though we don't want to do the irresponsible thing, financially irresponsible thing, but we have no other choice. So I'll be supporting it.
Any other commentary? I'll just add a couple of things. One, we did ask, and the administration included in our lease an option to buy. Turned out when you got down to the details of it, it was quite illusory, meaning there wasn't much to enforce it. But the owner of the building did choose an appraiser, and his appraiser came back. His chosen appraiser came back with a value of a little over $4 million for the building. And I believe if the administration wanted to, they could go to court in eminent domain and get it for that price. That's his appraisal. He doesn't want to sell it, but it would be for public purpose. And under the law, we could do that. So that is one option that the mayor has to deal with the issue of us spending public resources on a building we don't own. As Councilmember Cathcart alluded, even if we approve this today, it'll be 6 months before the bathrooms are complete. I think as long as we're in that building into next year, we'll recoup this and then start saving almost $100,000 a month in costs. So that will help us in the long run if we stay in that building. The legislature did just approve quite a few more funds for such things. I've asked CHHS to look into how is that going to apply, what are we going to have access to, and we haven't gotten a report yet back from them, what's possible. The reason there's so much money in the REIT funds is because of the housing crisis and the high housing and commercial building prices, and so there is an extra bonus in it this time, so it seems appropriate to use that fund. It's way more money than probably in our history over the same time period, so it is appropriate, but as Councilmember Bingle notes, at least on the commercial side, that's not going. On the residential, it's going to probably be flat at best for a while. But that's why the legislature said that we could use it for this purpose, just for this year, really. So I feel, again, we're in a tough spot, but also think we should vote for bathrooms and showers and kitchen facilities. It will save us money. It will improve the lives of people, but unfortunately, here we are a year after we just about a year from when we thought we were going to sign the lease, and this should have been done before the building was opened. So with that, prepare to vote. All right, that passes 6-1. And most people are here for ordinance 36386, but I'm going to defer that slightly because we have a couple of small matters that we could take care of that has some public testimony. And I'm wondering if you could read, unless there's an objection, the two related resolutions on speed limits, 35 and 36, and then we have Dennis Flynn would like to testify about that.
Resolution 2023-35, reducing the speed limit on certain arterials to a seasonal playground 20 miles per hour as identified in Exhibit A attached to the resolution. And Resolution 2023-36, reducing the speed limit on Belt Street from 30 miles per hour to a year-round playground 20 miles per hour from 30 feet south of Rockwell Avenue to Wellesley Avenue.
All right, Mr. Flynn, come on back. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thanks. Dennis Flynn, live in Spokane, like I said, up by St. Charles. So the second one is the only one that concerns me. There's already a seasonal speed limit adjustment at that street on Belt. The schools are several blocks away over on Alberta and Maple or Ash, whichever it is that runs south. The existing library and park, people go there via the parking lot. They don't go there across the street from Shadle Center. So if you need to do anything there, the more acceptable thing would be to put in a school zone sign to reduce it during the school year. Otherwise, you know, it's just a couple blocks that you're changing the speed limit to that already changes during the summer, and you're making it permanent year-round. So I would be against changing that belt to Wellesley.
Thanks for coming down. All right, any council commentary on either of these resolutions? All right, we'll be voting on both at the same time. Prepare to vote. All right, those pass 7-0. And that brings us to first reading ordinances.
Ordinance C-36-383 relating to water, amending Spokane Municipal Code Section 13.04.2025 of Chapter 13.04 of the Spokane Municipal Code and setting an effective date. Further action is deferred on the first reading ordinance.
Right, and there's someone named Daisy who's signed up to speak by phone. If you're there, Daisy, hit *3. Not see anyone. All right, then we'll turn to the emergency ordinance. If you want to go ahead and read that.
Ordinance C-36-386 concerning the unauthorized use and possession of controlled substances, counterfeit substances, or legend drugs, and creating a new chapter 10.76 of the Spokane Municipal Code and declaring an emergency.
All right, we have several people signed up to testify. First is Christine Quinn, then Rick Bocook, and then William Hagee. Let's see. Oh, Christine, no. Oh, there she is. Come on down, Christine. You have up to 3 minutes. Welcome.
Okay. Actually, it's going to be quick. I'm Christine Quinn from West Hills, and I wanted to say Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, and Spokane.
Thanks for coming down. Rick Bocook. After Rick is William, and then Will Hewlings.
I don't know how you guys are going to, when you pass this, you're going to really make it really punitive to drug addicts. But somebody last week had a testimony about the people that are being focused on are mostly are homeless people that are drug addicts, which means they're in extreme poverty. And, you know, the fines that you would put upon them if you go that far, it's really extreme. And I would say that if you're going to go after people, I mean, go after the dealers. Because these people that you're punishing, like I said, they're on the low end. They're in extreme poverty. Yeah, they're drug addicts. Yeah, they need help. Putting them in jail is not going to help them. I mean, maybe it needs to be balanced out. You know, like maybe if somebody is somebody like you, say you're making a big income and you're doing it, yeah, then you could go after them. You know, go after that drug addict. I live in an apartment, and yeah, I don't like what I see. I'm in my laundry room, and somebody's got a key, and they probably dropped about, I don't know, 15, 20 of those pills on the ground. I won't touch them. I told the management I won't touch those foils anymore. They need to be taken care of. So I get it, but I still think you should weigh it out on who you're punishing. It should be weighed out. Person in extreme poverty, they need to be helped, not punished, because they have a problem. They have a mental problem. I mean, why do they keep going? It's not just the addiction. Something's making them go to that addiction. And I don't think people are seeing this. I don't think they're seeing it at all. I think they're just angry, you know, because of all the messes they see. But they're not paying attention to the extreme poverty. And how are these people getting their drugs? They're probably stealing to get them, or they're probably selling it to get them, you know, but they're not using income that they get from work. So pay attention to the extreme poverty. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. William Hagee, and then Will Hewlings, and then Justice for All. Welcome.
Hello, thank you, President Beggs, Council Member. Safe spaces, Spokane has seen some radical changes here, and we do have a massive drug problem. And regardless of who's on the financial end of the spectrum, I do feel that it is ideal to have this emergency ordinance passed and in place as we speak. The streets of Spokane have seen a considerable amount of vandalism. Public drug use is at an all-time high. I can ride a bicycle from West Hills to the state line, and I can show you all the areas. And I'm passing through fentanyl smoke, and this is a community that's witnessing this is causing harm throughout parks, Class II trailheads, civic centers, that people are afraid to go. And I believe that our community has a tremendous amount of compassion for those that struggle, whether it be financially, whether it be with addiction. We've, in the West Hills, seen a number of people in fatalities that are suspicious, drug use related, and it's a deterrent from neighborhood, features such as Indian Canyon, Mystic Falls, Fish Lake Trailhead, Highbridge Park, Peoples Park, Palisades, Rimrock, and the list goes on. It basically is 360 degrees around the entire neighborhood council boundaries. Along with that is a tremendous amount of environmental damage. Arson fires is an all-time high. There are people as far into Palisades, West Hills, in immediate proximity to the Sunset Bridge. Their insurance rates are being dropped or radically increased, such as the church, second in division, can no longer get insurance. If there's progress with that, that'd be great to hear. I've talked to a number of business owners downtown that have moved, those that I bring my business to, and they feel as if they're living in a third world country. And I do feel that there's a way that we can do this without making it too terribly difficult for law enforcement or others to be encouraging it to do so. Thank you much.
Thanks for coming down. Will Hewlings. After Will, Justice for All, and then Megra is going to be on the phone. Welcome back.
Good evening. My name is Will Hewlings. I live downtown Spokane. I am for this ordinance making drugs illegal, which they always should have been. The problem I have with it is I'll use a good example. Living downtown, going to my apartment just the other day, I noticed that there was an older lady and there was a younger guy, and they were off in the corner kind of by our entrance to our apartments. And the lady, she was She had some foil, and she was smoking her drugs. So me, I seen it, and I yelled at her. I said, "Hey!" And it startled her, and she didn't do her drugs. Then she started walking away. But the guy that was with her, the young guy, I don't know if he thought I was stupid or something, but he told me she was smoking marijuana off of foil. Now, that's a problem, because there's been many times I've walked out my apartment past these lowlifes, and that's what they are. I hate to say it, because one day I walked past them, and I think I got some of their fentanyl or whatever they were smoking, because I was kind of lightheaded, and I'm a cyclist. And, so it is a problem. Not just that, I have friends that come downtown to walk their animals, their dogs. People come downtown with their kids. There's foil everywhere. I got friends that do security, and they show me pictures behind the dumpsters. There's fentanyl foil everywhere. Like I mentioned last week, they have to lock up the foil at Rite Aid because they go in there and they shoplift. Shoplifting, yes, they shoplift to steal to support their habit. I've watched them do it. I'm in line and I watch people run out of Rite Aid right downtown, right here, with merchandise. And there's nothing that they can do, the security. They just have to let them. And the little lowlifes that are doing this, they think it's funny. So they steal to support their drug habit. They sit out in this parking lot by my apartment and do their drugs like little zombies. I mean, just so you know, there's a new drug coming. It's called xylazine. Okay, they add it to this fentanyl, which is already deadly, and you know what that does? It rots your skin. And it's a big thing. It's on the East Coast. It's coming this way. Look it up. So it would be good if you act before it gets here. But anyways, thank you.
Thanks for coming down. Justice for All. After Justice is Magra by phone, and then Sherry Barnett.
Hello,
Welcome.
City Council. My name is Justice for All, Spokane City resident. We know that jail is overcrowded with the majority of people waiting pretrial. This is according to Spokane County Jail Population Report released October 22nd, 2022. 2022. 60% of the jail population are pretrial with no hold. These people have not been convicted of a crime but are held against their will because they cannot access funds to buy their freedom. While no one is happy about public drug use, the opioid epidemic, failed housing policies, wages not keeping up with inflation, but the solution is not to increase the penalty for public drug use that will further perpetuate the problems of an overcrowded jail. Addiction doesn't care about deterrence. This emergency ordinance is changing the 90-day misdemeanor to a gross misdemeanor of 365 days in jail. What services or programs do we have to reintegrate people who lose their homes, job, or their children? This is a 306% increase in jail time, yet we do not see solutions coming out to reduce our jail populations or swiftly move people through the system. Instead, we see the system applying further barriers and complication for people who have who are currently experiencing mental health crises and are turned away from paths forward towards recovery. You are changing the law from a 90-day to 365 days in jail. This does not help with the crowded jail or people suffering from addiction. And I mean suffering. This is the current wording of the ordinance. Quote, "It is unlawful for any person to knowingly use controlled substances or counterfeit substances or legend drugs in public place unless the substances was obtained directly from or pursuant to a valid prescription." I'm going to not read the rest. I'm going to skip to the next part. Public place is defined as meaning an area generally visible to public view. It includes streets, sidewalk, bridges, alleys, plazas, parks, driveways, parking lots, automobiles, whether moving or not, and buildings open to the public. And doorways, windows, drive-up windows, and entrances to buildings or dwellings that are visible to public view. So for you weed smokers, while having a weed as a controlled substance is not punishable, using that controlled substance, through your window will be. And that's up to a year in jail because that's now a gross misdemeanor. For those privileged few, yes, it is still an option for police officers to have the deferral to other kinds of treatment. But there's no requirement, as it was with the Blake decision. There's no actual push for it. It's very vague. And so we're leaving it up to hope that that's going to happen. But who knows? And hopefully you're lucky enough to be one of those people. But let's be honest, it's not the privileged few who are at the tip of the spear. It's about the unprivileged, unhoused community that are being targeted under this ordinance. Those that don't have the privileges to do their vices in private. And jail is not treatment. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. All right, Megra, if you're there on the phone, if you want to hit *3. Okay. Megra, if you want to hit *3. Okay. You have up to 3 minutes, Megra.
Okay, thank you. In 2001, Portugal decriminalized the consumption of drugs. Drug dealers were still criminalized. It was still illegal to deal the drugs. Since then, their rates of drug use and drug-related deaths have remained below the EU average. By treating drug addiction as a compassionate addiction problem and not as a punitive criminalization problem, by offering counseling and healthcare treatment services, Portugal is leading the world in approaching drug abuse. Spokane has the opportunity to use this data to save lives. Criminalizing drugs traps people in a jail poverty cycle. Being held in jail cuts off access to their jobs, to medication they may use for other health care, and it cuts off access to their social networks. While in jail, people can lose both their jobs and their housing. This does not help addiction. This does not treat root causes of addiction. In fact, it does the opposite. This traps people and it removes their options. In extreme cases, it even extinguishes lives as more and more people battling addiction die in jail. 7 people died in Spokane County Jail in 2018 alone. Jail cannot provide the treatment and care necessary for people experiencing addiction or mental health crises. What does help is adding mental health support and services. Rather than criminalize, treat. Addiction changes the way your brain processes everything. Drugs are prioritized over basic needs, which can even include food. Please support services to lift people out of addiction and don't trap them in a poverty cycle by criminalizing them. Thank you.
Thanks, Megra. All right, Sherry Barnett, and after Sherry is Dennis Flynn, and then Andrew Ross. Welcome.
Breon Beggs, City Council, and everyone. I go to a church that has a lot of people that have had drug problems and alcohol problems. And we wrote letters galore when the legislature was loosening this issue, asking them please not to, because most of them began to get their brains back when they went to prison or went to jail and began to sober up. And drugs have been used to detour civilizations. China did not begin to get its strength until it got rid of its opium problem. And we are losing so many children. We should be teaching those children in the strongest way. It should never be so accessible as it is now, and in the movies and in the magazines made to seem like a high adventure. It's killing kids. And you know, the Union Gospel Mission has a wonderful record with this, but they make it so that you're making a commitment. It's not just, you're not just going to take a pat on the hand and then you're going to jump out and you're going to be back with your old friends and you're going to be doing what you were doing before. No, you make a commitment to make a change in your life. And they get people jobs, they get people houses. And I think people ought to take a little listen to the way that they're working and doing things. But we have to stop drug addiction in Spokane. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Dennis Flynn, welcome back. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thanks. Dennis Flynn, Spokane, live up by St. Charles. Boy, it started earlier tonight saying resources and choices, right? I mean, I'm not against any of this. I'd struggled with my own addiction problems. Maybe it's the difference between meth and opioids, right? But I was working a couple different jobs, and I was a functional addict, I guess. And finally, I met somebody who helped me raise myself out of that, and thank goodness for her. I mean, without the resources to do everything we want, we have to make choices to do what we can with the resources we have. I support the text of this. I really wish that we could help people to the point that they need it, but I mean, some of that would be choices that we don't or would find very hard to make. Involuntary commitment through a program that teaches responsibility and skill sets and sets you up with follow-up programs to go on and become a productive, functional member of society. I mean, we're talking years, right? Can't even decide if we can give hot water and running water and food to people. So, I mean, how are we going to do that? So until then, you know, that carrot sounds nice, but I think a little bit of stick is necessary for the users and for the dealers. I agree. Go after the dang dealers. I mean, make this a fentanyl. It's an attempted murder, right? Make it a capital punishment. So there you go.
Thanks for coming down, Dennis. Andrew, and after Andrew is Crystal Burgett, and then Melanie Perry. Welcome.
Council President Beggs, members of council, good evening. I'm Andrew Rawls with the Downtown Spokane Partnership. Thank you for bringing forward this ordinance tonight. Passage of it is vitally important to downtown, and on behalf of a coalition of business associations consisting of Greater Spokane Incorporated, Visit Spokane, the Spokane chapter of the Building Owners and Managers Association, the Spokane chapter of the Washington Hospitality Association, the East Spokane Business Association, and the Downtown Spokane Partnership, we strongly encourage you to pass this ordinance as is, without amendment. It brings in vital elements of the Safe Open Spaces Ordinance. We thank you for your work with Council members Cathcart and Bingle to integrate its key provisions, as well as the administration and the police department as you deliberated on this over the last several weeks. We additionally request your support in communicating with our legislators that laws in which they may pass do not lead to the preemption of local policy that would lower standards in the use and possession ordinance if you pass it tonight. We hear from our members daily about the harm caused by a lack of regulation and criminal sanction for drug use. Sidewalks, parks, plazas, and building entrances are being obstructed by individuals openly using drugs, while the remnants of drug abuse litter our commercial centers, neighborhoods, waterways, parks, and trails. To close with some final observations, the members of the DSP don't view this as a policy to warehouse individuals suffering from addiction into a jail tower at the county campus that simply has no room, as has already been alluded to, given all of the individuals in our community that are suffering from drug addiction. And that is a tragedy in and of itself. What we do foresee is that with the passage of this ordinance, something can finally be done for the individual with addiction who has made the 7th, 8th, or 9th appearance before a presiding judge for the same thing over and over again. Members of the DSP also recognize that there is also not nearly enough room in treatment programs in this community. The numbers of individuals suffering from addiction in our community is simply too massive for that. But we have to start somewhere, and this is a good start. Thank you, Council President Beggs and members of council, for your consideration. We urge your support.
Thanks for coming down, Andrew. Crystal, welcome. After Crystal is Melanie, and then Bree Gorder.
Hello, Crystal Yasko-Sonberg at MAC Movement in Spokane, Washington. I am opposed to this emergency ordinance for a few reasons. Criminalizing possession or use of controlled substances does more harm than good. It ruins families, ultimately, and it can take what little hope people have. This ordinance doesn't clarify enough what exactly is going to happen if the infraction happens. They may get charged, they may get treatment. This is no guarantee. This leaves cracks in the system for people to fall through. It leaves opportunity for law enforcement to continue to abuse those who are already stigmatized, the poor, Black and brown people, our queer community, houseless folks. This isn't going to achieve the level of care and guidance that our people deserve. I'm hopeful we as a community can come together to produce informed and compassionate decisions and come up with an alternative approach that'll give opportunity for treatment to all. Passing what you have written will only cause harm. Let's work on data and harm reduction. I'd like to point out that safe open spaces shouldn't be through doors, windows, or into people's cars. That's their personal space. Thanks.
Thanks for coming down, Crystal. Melanie Perry, welcome. And then after Melanie is Bree Gorder and then Melinda.
Hi, I'm Melanie Perry. I'm a Spokane resident. I live over by the falls. I didn't come down here with the intention to speak tonight, but this recriminalization this is just an awful move. It's going in the wrong direction. We should be moving as a society towards harm reduction and healthcare and away from criminalization of drug abuse and addiction. This is a health issue. And I know that there are people out there, and we've heard from some people, who will say that when people are on drugs, they can be dangerous and they can steal to fund their addiction. But we already have crimes for that. Assault and theft are crimes. There's no reason for addiction to be. It just moves people further underground and into more increasingly desperate situations. And when those become dangerous, it becomes very difficult to get yourself out of that without fear of punishment for these previous infractions, drug use, basically, which shouldn't be a crime in my understanding of a compassionate society. So, anyway, I just very much oppose this, and I hope that you can join me in saying no to this criminalization, to fines and jail time, and we can work together to think and imagine a brighter future, one where we prioritize health and harm reduction. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Melanie. Bree Gorder, and then Melinda, if you're here, come up to the front, and then after Melinda would be Mike McGuire.
Every time. My name's Bree. I'm a resident of the Cliff Cannon neighborhood, a business owner, and a recovering addict with 14 months of sobriety. I wanted to start off with a statistic that was actually given out last week, and it's of course in tiny writing. Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office has seen a significant increase in fatal drug overdoses involving fentanyl. From 2020 to 2021, there's been an astonishing 285.7% increase in overdose fatalities within the boundaries of Spokane County. We need to call this for what it is, a public health crisis. We don't throw people in jail when they have cancer. We provide support and treatment. My call to council is to focus on the treatment. In order to get off methadone, one has to travel all the way to Yakima. The only place an individual can go to obtain a detox bed is the hospital. There is a disparity in mental health and drug treatment beds in the city and county. Due to the disparity, individuals do not have access to vital resources they need to recover. Jails are not treatment centers. I challenge council to push for long-term mental health facilities, treatment facilities, and detox for residents of Spokane. Let's build bridges, not barriers.
Thanks for coming down, Bree. All right, is there a Melinda in the room that wanted to testify? Not seeing. All right, Mr. McGuire, come on down. After Mr. McGuire is John Alder. Welcome to City Council.
Thank you. Council President Biggs, members of the City Council. First, I want to give thanks to God for President Franklin Roosevelt. He saved the country, helping the poor and the unemployed. But for AAA, the American Automobile Association, has discovered a 30% increase in car accidents since marijuana was legalized in Washington state. There's also an increase in marijuana mixing with other drugs. The age for purchase of marijuana in Spokane is 21, no younger. We need to emphasize that marijuana shops obey city laws. The Lucky Leaf, a marijuana shop in Spokane, was in Richland before that and broke laws there, marijuana laws. So 21, no younger for the age of marijuana. Let's enforce it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. John Alder is our last speaker.
John Alder from Northeast Spokane. I want to begin with a story about my best friend ever, Mary Whittier. A generous person, amongst other things, gave me 2 cats I enjoyed for many years. And also rescued and healed me after getting hit in the head with a baseball bat. She also was sexually abused 12 to 15 years old, plus 18 she was raped so savagely it almost killed her. It also gave her nightmares and made it hard for her sleep. So she took so many pills and drank so much alcohol, she became plagued with addiction issues. And most of these drug addicts you're harassing with this new ordinance are suffering the same issues. But rather than jail, she got treatment and support from friends and family. This is what drug addicts and mentally ill need, not another ordinance that tries to put them in jail. Instead of spending $300 million at ridiculous jail you're talking about, let's try treatment and housing. And when you create ordinances that offer help. This will reduce the number of addicted and mentally ill the police will deal with, and a better solution to police harassment to solve this issue. One more thing I want you to think about here. Robert Reich says we spend $1.7 trillion more on law enforcement agencies than we do on social services. Why don't we try doing it different? Maybe we'll have a friendlier, healthier, happier America.
Thanks, John. All right, that's all the people that we have signed up on our list. I know some people might have thought they signed up, but we typically have not. If we don't have it, we don't have them. But, council commentary. Councilmember Stratton.
I will be supporting this ordinance tonight. I have heard, I think all of us have had so many emails from our constituents that are afraid to come downtown. They're afraid to be in their parks. They're afraid to walk around their neighborhoods. And I just think we're at a point where we need to be doing something. But the one thing I want to clarify, if this passes tonight, we've done our job. Council has passed this. If it passes, we've done what our job is. Moving forward, when people in the community have problems and they see people outside completely ignoring this ordinance, we cannot direct the administration, we cannot direct the police chief, we cannot direct any of the policing activities. So just to the community, if you see this going on and you call and you report it, that's going to be up to administration and police department in how they're going to enforce this. And I think we sometimes get really caught up in not knowing who to call, and so we get a lot of calls on it when we have to simply pass that on because we can't direct those departments. So I plan to support it. I don't see an alternative right now. It's gotten so bad. And just know that if you have questions, if you have concerns about enforcement, that's not council's area, and you're going to have to talk to the police department or the administration. Thanks.
Councilmember Bingle.
Yeah, I'm glad this is coming forward. Obviously, Councilmember Cathcart, myself, and the mayor, saw the writing on the wall in the legislature, saw that nothing was going to get done, and so we were attempting to bring something forward. That one was deferred indefinitely. But what we do have here is a really good piece of legislation. What it will do is it will allow us to help keep our streets safe. I hear it when people talk about we need to give people options and we need to provide treatments. And we as a council are all very supportive of that particular idea. And if all the money in the world existed and if all the workers in the world existed, guess what? That would be a fully funded and fully staffed program. That is not the world we live in today. The world that we live in today is one where we do have a shortage of staff members able to do that work. And so the thing that we need to do as the legislative body is we need to set the laws that are good and moral. When we say, we don't have jail space, totally hear it. That doesn't mean we legalize crime in any way or we, make more crimes legal because we don't have space in the jail. That doesn't make sense. When people talk about drugs as being a victimless crime, that's just not true. There are crimes. This particular issue does have victims outside of the individual using. Okay? If that individual has children, those children are often neglected or left to fend for themselves. If they're using intravenous drugs, those needles are being left on the streets and in the parks and in our rivers and in the areas where people congregate. In 2020 and in 2021, our regional health department gave out close to 2 million needles in both of those years. In those years alone, we have been giving out millions of needles every year for some time now. Those needles oftentimes are not finding themselves returned in what is supposed to be a needle exchange program. What that does is it actually does create a public health emergency, and I agree it's a public health crisis. I think that we do have people who are struggling. There are people in this room who would say, and will not get the opportunity to say, but would say that arrest saved their life. That's a very personal story for me as well, as family members of mine have found themselves in a very similar situation, and arrest saved their life. That's not the case for everybody. That doesn't mean it's the right tool for everybody. But this is a tool, and that's why the language was very carefully crafted by our legal department and by the council members who proposed this and the council members who are going to be supporting this, is that when you look at the may and the subjectivity in there, it gives the prosecutors and the courts the ability to understand somebody who finds themselves in a first-time offense versus somebody who has done this 20, 30, 40 times. There is a difference, and we understand that difference. And what we're not trying to do is we're not trying to ruin anybody's lives. You're going to notice that it is a gross misdemeanor and not a felony, because a felony does have the ability to ruin somebody's life. And if somebody needs some help, we want to help them, and we want to keep our community safe. And we do want to see restoration of that individual. We do want to see them in a place where they are self-sustaining with good personal habits. These are things that we are trying to accomplish with this ordinance. I'm thankful for the people who brought it forward. I'm thankful that tonight is going to be a good vote, and I think that this is going to help us to keep our community safe and also to help the individuals in the throes of addictions.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be brief. I think Councilmember Bingle kind of covered a lot of this, but I do want to just emphasize, I think the entire ordinance is really, really important. And it is well crafted. It takes a lot of the elements from the Safe Open Public Spaces Act and uses that with some new language, but it is, I think, well done. And some of the concerns I had over some amendments and things like that, not happening. So I think this is a good ordinance. But what I really want to stress is I think one of the more critical pieces of it are the protections for our open spaces. And I think that that's important to consider. We have a right to live in a safe community. And our first priority as a city is public safety. And when we have areas in our community where people can be out doing things that are causing directly or indirectly harm to our community members, that's a place where we have to step in. And I will just recount 2 weeks ago, I was downtown with my family walking, and we decided to cross the Monroe Street Bridge to visit Kendall Yards. And as we did so, we entered one of the alcoves that you can't avoid, and there was a gentleman in there smoking his fentanyl. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. There's nothing you can do. But there's not even any recourse if I wanted to protect the next person. And that was what was so frustrating, I think even more so than us being potentially afflicted or contaminated with that crap. But the concern is there's really nothing that can happen. And I don't want to see individuals sitting out in our public spaces, whether they're the plazas, the sidewalks, our streets, our parks, whatever it might be, and doing something that might unintentionally harm a community member. Now, I've heard in recent days some people suggesting.
Hey, excuse me, order.
I've heard some folks in recent days suggesting that there are no real issues with fentanyl, but I just want to cite, because I don't think that's true at all. The CDC actually talks about protections for emergency responders. And it says, always wear nitrile gloves when illicit drugs may be present. Wear respiratory protection if powdered illicit drugs are visible or suspected. Avoid performing tasks or operations that may cause illicit drugs to become airborne. Let me pull it up here. The American Veterinary Medical Association, I'm quoting from an article on their website, minuscule amounts of synthetic opioids, including fentanyl and fentanyl analogs such as carfentanil, can cause overdoses in the same police dogs that were safe while sniffing for heroin. Sporadic reports indicate police dogs and some pet dogs have been victims of overdoses or suspected overdoses. Just walking your dog is not safe when this crap is out there. So if anything about this can act as a deterrent or as a way to protect the community, to keep those public spaces safe, then I'm all for it. I have a son, and I don't want to see him harmed, and I don't want to see your kids harmed, your pets harmed, your families harmed. And so I think this is really important. And hopefully the legislature will come back, and they will find a statewide fix that works for everybody. But in the meantime, this is absolutely critical that we pass this.
Councilmember Zepon.
Yeah, I'll just say that I'm also going to support this. I think it's a right step forward, but I hear all the concerns about how this isn't addressing the root of the problem of addiction. Criminalizing addiction doesn't do anything. That's why I'm glad to see that there's diversion in this and that there's going to be more effort on diversion. I think the process, we got to where we needed to be. It wasn't a perfect process, but I'm glad that we got here, and definitely agree that the state should be doing something, because patchwork is not going to work across the state. And I know all of our state representatives here in the Spokane County area are supportive of that, and we'll be working towards that.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Just say no. So we have all seen the devastating impacts of the failed war on drugs. So it's a different drug, but it's not new. Has it increased? Absolutely. We don't know why people use drugs. But there is a consequence to the drug user and to the people around them, and we totally understand that. We do not have capacity in our jails, and I don't want citizens to really be under the assumption that, that they're going to be arrested and then go to jail and get treatment. Many times they'll be arrested, ticketed, and they'll be back out on the streets within 72 hours. So in some ways, we are making this a crime for people who are drug dependent, unhoused, or who have little or no resources, and those who are unable to meet their own basic needs. I will support this because there has been a lot of collaboration for us to get to where we are. There was a lot of back and forth and give, and I think it's one of the best times I've seen council really work together on something that was as contentious as this has been. Is it perfect? No, but it's the best that we have at this time. It gives our officers a tool. I hope it will be applied fairly as they go forward. So it's a tool. At this point, it is not a solution to all the drug issues that are in our community. And Councilmember Stratton is absolutely correct. Once we pass this, the control is out of our hands, as how it will be implemented on the streets going forward. It's what we have now, and so I will be supporting it, but it was a difficult place to get to for all of us.
Okay. Councilmember Kinnear has been working very hard behind the scenes, has nothing more to say to us about it. So I think the challenge is that we're going to pass this, I think 7-0. And it's an emergency ordinance, which is one of the improvements we made in it. So that means it goes into effect as soon as we pass it. But I fear that tomorrow morning, those who have passionately been emailing us and calling us and testifying, asking us to pass it, they will wake up and they will not see much difference in the city of Spokane. And that's because the issue of substance abuse and behavioral health that's self-medicated with illegal drugs is far deeper than any law that we could pass, whether it's a simple misdemeanor, a gross misdemeanor, or a felony. They talk nowadays about these diseases of despair and all the people dying all across our country. And there is a hole in their heart, and there's a hole in their soul, and they try to fill it with substances, some of them legal, some of them illegal, all of them destructive, and that will continue. And as people have mentioned, I've seen it in my family. My father actually ran a very innovative heroin addiction treatment program for addicts in Marin County, California, which at the time was one of the richest counties in the country. And so it was ironic that all these young people were addicts, supposedly the most privileged group in America. But they had the same hole in their souls, and they were self-medicating. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see much change, but we will have said the right words, written them down, carved them into the law, and I think Councilmember Wilkerson mentioned that 4 of us up here are now our 60s. So we've seen this before. This is about the 3rd version of the war on drugs in my life, and there was always that same hope. If we just pass the law, if we just say no, if we just let people know how much we care about them and want to avoid the damage, that somehow that will stop it. And I don't think it will. But that is the narrative that we're in, and my goal in helping craft this particular version of the law was to make sure that it was better than originally envisioned, which seemed like a campaign gambit for someone running for office, and really to be more comprehensive and hopefully be aligned with what happens at the state level. The state had a compromise bill that had support from Republicans and Democrats for a while until the very last moment, and it didn't pass. And so the idea for this one is to pass something now that will, one, help lead the way in Spokane for the whole state, which is ironic because the Blake decision, which outlawed felony drug possession laws, was created by our county prosecutor at the state Supreme Court. And so it's ironic that we're trying to lead the way at the state now. But hopefully the legislature will come together. One of the aspects of their bill was they really focused on treatment and alternatives other than jail. And even if it was jail, it was at the misdemeanor level. As a practical matter, I think anyone who's practiced in misdemeanor court will tell you that simple misdemeanor, gross misdemeanor, for the vast majority of people won't make a difference. It's only the few people that don't comply with the court's orders that might be in risk of more jail time. We are so fortunate in Spokane. We have a set of therapeutic courts that are problem-solving courts. They are far more effective, according to the people that have studied them, than the traditional lock people in jail. They're more effective. So we have a great tradition of that and culture of that. They've applied for money to get an actual drug treatment court. They already are doing drug treatment in their therapeutic courts They're very effective, but we're going to get money, hopefully, and we'll be way ahead, and we're ready to go on that. And I'm confident that as long as our court system here in Spokane is dealing with it, we will get better results. So I'm looking forward to that. We will undoubtedly, after the legislature passes their law, have to come back and amend this because they will, if the past potential compromises affected all the things that we're doing. So we'll probably have to come back. But I think for tonight, I want to commend all the council members and their staff and city legal coming together on what I think is a 7-0 vote and saying, we are going to move forward, not perfectly, but better than it has been. So with that, prepare to vote. All right. That passes 7-0. And with that, we are finished with our legislative business. Please take care of yourself, and if you can, take care of somebody else. And thanks, everybody, for coming down. And Ms. Councilmember Kinnear reminds people to exit to the Chase Gallery so we can do our council recap. We're adjourned.